Let's talk about real life issues, love and relationships. Let's have a good time with the missus. Let's talk about celebrities. Let's talk about current events. Let's talk about things you don't see on regular TV. So join in on Peachy Time. Peachy Time. Tune in on Peachy Time. Peachy Time. Come join us on Peachy Time. Peachy Time. Join us on Peachy Time. Peachy Time. Yeah.
Peachy time. Hey, Peachy time. Peachy time. Hey, Peachy time. Yes, it is. Put them peaches in the comments. Y'all know how this goes. I'm Tennille, and thank you so much for joining me on Peachy time. I hope I got this camera right this time, y'all. It just don't seem like it be right. I don't know if it be me. I think it be me. Okay. It look like I'm looking up in the sky. Of Atlanta. Y'all see Atlanta in the back? That's Atlanta. Yeah. Home of the A. But yes, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. We have a very, very special show tonight. It's not going to be much laughing tonight. I must say that. It's not going to be much laughing tonight at all. It is a serious show. And what we're talking about is children, suicidal children, and the Black community. So I do have two special guests on the show tonight who is very, very dear to me. I'm so excited that they decided to do this show with me, mother and daughter. And it's Mother's Day weekend. So I'm so excited. And they are my family members. They are my cousins. My cousin and her daughter, and Sarita and Lauren. And I just love them dearly. And they're here to rock it out with us, y'all. They're here to rock it out. So once again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. And also, please, please, please join in the comments. Please feel free to say whatever you want to say, ask whatever you want to ask. It is what it is. We're all here for one purpose for this particular show, which is to reach out to others. And of course, yeah, on all the shows, we want to reach out to others. But this show in particular, we definitely need to make sure that we try and reach out to everybody in the community, in our Black community, and other communities as well. But tonight, we finna focus on our community. So with that being said, let me go ahead and bring up our guests, Miss Lauren and Sarita Williams. Hey. What's going on, cuz?
Oh, nothing much. Just happy to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And hey, Lauren.
Hey.
Now, Lauren, I know y'all like Tennille. Out of all the cussing you be doing and everything. Lauren, I'm not going to do all that tonight, okay? Because I love you. But, Lauren, let everybody know how old you are.
I just turned 18.
So she's grown, you all. She's grown. I'm sure she heard those words before. Yeah, so Lauren, we're so glad to have you. You are actually the first young guest on Peachy Time. So I love you. I thank you for joining us. And, just feel comfortable. Act like you FaceTiming me. We got people out there watching. But all you got to do is just act like we on FaceTime. That's how you got to do. And you just going to feel just as comfortable you can get. Ain't that right, Sarita?
Yes.
Yes. Now, I want to start off with our video that we always do here on Peachy Time. We always want to make sure that we showcase talent. So I found a nice little clip video of this young lady. Her name is Amari Cherie. She can sing very well. And the song that I chose for tonight to find a cover for was My Life with Mary J. Blige. And I'm like, what better song to choose from? So she did her thing on it. I must say, I want you guys to watch it. I hope you like it. And here we go. So, Rita, you don't have to do nothing. It's gonna bring us both down. When I say hit the mute button, then you hit the mute button. But I don't think we're gonna have to do that tonight. So
Okay.
here we go.
Life can be only what you make it. When you're feeling down, you should never forget. Say what's on your mind, and you'll find in time that all the negative energy, it will all cease, and you'll be at peace with yourself. You won't really need no one else except for the man above. Hey, because he'll give you love. Ooh. If you looked into my life, you'll see what I've seen. La-di-da-di-da-da-da. You'll see what I've seen. La-di-da-di-da-da-da. You see what I've seen. La-di-da-di-da.
All right. Now you don't get a chance, cousin, to think about when it's gonna pop us back in here. That's the only thing about this new way that I have it. It just brings us right on in. I don't have to do nothing. So yeah. So how did you like it? Y'all like her voice?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was really nice.
Yes, she did a wonderful job. So again, her name is Amari Cherie. Amari Cherie, had to write that
You
down.
found her on YouTube?
Get it. Yes, she's on YouTube, you all. She's on YouTube. Go check her out. She had a bunch of different songs on there.
Okay.
So go check her out, y'all. Now, before we also get started, I would like to also add that Sarita, hey girl, Sarita got her podcast going on, y'all. So her podcast is called Speaking from the Closet. Can y'all see that? Yeah, you can see it. Let me take the banner down right quick. All right, there you go. Now you can see everything. All right, Speaking from the Closet. What is that all about? Cause let us know. Speaking from the closet, cause that could go all type of ways.
It really could. It really could. But really, speaking from the closet is about making mental illness normalizing mental illness, basically, because there's this stigma around mental illness where people feel like, oh my God, this person is bipolar, or this person is schizophrenic, or whatever, or they're crazy, and they treat them a certain type of way. um, my goal is to educate people on mental illness, especially people in our community, because we grow up hearing, Black people don't go to therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up hearing that, so that's what
I did.
I went off of. Um, and I personally went to therapy. I still have a therapist. So it's important for me to just share. I'm so excited to share all the tips that I've learned, the
Mm-hmm.
coping mechanisms. So that's what the show is about. And just, and I'm also going to be touching on everything that's happening today and tying it into mental illness.
Okay. Okay. And I see you have a few of these on here already.
Yes.
You have anxiety part 1, combating post traumatic stress disorder. I know you can make it. Dear Man, Speaking from the Closet trailer, and Positive Affirmation. Girl, what Dear Man about? Oh, what's that?
It's an acronym, so it just breaks down like different things. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
just an acronym that breaks down different things dealing with like cognitive behavior therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, now is it all about men? Is this
No,
something for men to listen to?
no.
Okay. Okay.
It's for
No, it's
anybody.
okay.
It's for anybody, everybody.
Everybody. All
Everybody.
right. I can't wait. Now, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. She sent me over one of the clips today. It was Anxiety Part 1. That's what she sent me today. And she wanted me to listen to her intro. And I was like, yeah, I listened to the intro, no problem, because I was working on my show just as well. And when I tell y'all, oh my gosh, I had no choice but to go past the intro. It was just so catchy. And I mean, you have to listen to it. She was literally off the chain on it, off the chain. But she told a little bit about herself, some of her background, some of the anxiety that she has just as well. And I strongly suggest that you all go check out my cousin, Rita, speaking from the closet. And this is on Spotify, you guys. And she's also on iHeartRadio.
In Pandora.
And Pandora.
Yes. Yes. I'm so excited.
Thank you for the link. Thank you for the link for telling me how to get on iHeart. So I'll be on iHeart soon too, y'all. I sure will, y'all. But I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people, they try to keep stuff to themselves. Don't want to tell nobody how they moving up the ladder and everything. So I really appreciate it. I really do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with our show tonight. Let me pull this down because I'm going to show you guys again at the end of the night. I got to show the website too. So, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. We are talking about suicidal children in the Black community and our Black community tonight. Did you guys want to say something briefly before I play the video, or you want to go ahead and just get started with the video?
You can get started with the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, this will be the probably the lengthiest one. It's not long at all, but this will be the most lengthiest one. We only have a total of 4 clips tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna give our opinions, strictly our opinions. Of course, I always say everything is allegedly on here. I also say explicit language, but we're gonna hold back on that tonight. And let's get started. Here we go.
In the U.S., Black children under the age of 13 are twice as likely to die by suicide than white children.
It felt like people were looking down on him. So we buried him this high, so when they had to come and see him, they always had to look up.
And experts aren't entirely sure why this deadly disparity is happening.
Mental health does play a big part. We need more support and awareness. We got to break the cycle.
Over the past decade, suicide attempts among Black children rose 92%. On January 19th of 2019, 10-year-old Seven Bridges was one of those children.
Seven was a blessing to everybody that met him. From the day he was born, he was always the star and didn't know it.
Tammy Charles is Seven's mother. She alleges that physical abuse and racist slurs at school harmed her son's mental state. So throughout 2019, she used Facebook to document her son's struggles.
I'm in school and my son has been called a and a choke.
Despite their visits to the school, Tammy and her husband Donnie claim Seven's bullying continued. They believe the bullying prompted Seven's suicide after Tammy found her son dead in his bedroom.
I started CPR on my baby. I did the proper compressions. I breathed into his mouth, and I had been drinking coffee. And as I began the compressions again, I could smell the coffee come back out of his lungs. I knew then that my son was dead.
As Tammy sat at the hospital, dealing with the aftermath of Seven's death, she wanted only one thing.
I just want to see him again before before you take him, before you do an autopsy, before you embalm him, let me see my baby.
A 2019 study found that children who died by suicide were more likely to be Black and male. 2 years after her 11-year-old son's death, Nataya Chambers is still searching for answers.
I dealt with mental health, and I seen the signs in my son, and I didn't even know. When my son passed away and hung himself, I just couldn't believe it. And I think, how do they think of this and how do they do it? Rylan was my best friend. He was an honor roll student. He was a basketball player. He was a tutor for his school. He was just a good all-around perfect kid.
Wow. And you know, that's the scary part.
Yeah.
An all around perfect kid. This little boy was tutoring people. So you know he had to be smart. So it's like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I understand that you have mental health issues. You know, I understand when I was on 3 Times a T, we spoke on mental health a lot. And I'm not gonna stop that here on Peachy Tea Time. Y'all hear me? We still gonna talk about mental health here. But it saddens me because, like they said, like the woman said, her son was almost a straight A student, if not tutoring people. He did everything that he was supposed to do. What you guys got to say on that?
You go ahead first.
Yeah, it saddens me as well. But it is understandable because I used to be that child. When I used to play sports, I was nearly a straight A student all through my school years. But that did put a lot of stress on me to keep that up. And I put my own, everybody else around me, they would hype me up. They'd be like, oh, wow, Lauren, you're doing so good. You're so smart. And it did feel good to have people around me supporting me. But I also felt like that support also resulted in me putting those own expectations on myself, those high expectations of myself to keep up with. And, that it really manifested my anxiety and my depression. So I definitely understand where you could be coming from. I personally never dealt with bullying, so I can't exactly speak on that, but I do understand from at least that point of view.
Yeah, because Sarita, I'm sure we all dealt with bullying at some point in our life.
Yeah.
I
dealt with it.
Yes, bullying, roasting, all of that. I dealt with it, but I dealt with it at a very, very, very young age.
Yeah.
So once I probably was like 12 years old and up, I didn't have that issue no more.
Yeah.
At all, because my parents moved me out of that bad environment.
Yeah.
I don't know if they knew that was going on. I wouldn't say so much bullying. Well, it was bullying. It was bullying. But I guess I looked at it as in just people trying to make me feel bad.
Yeah.
Feel like I was less than.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was hard. My parents couldn't afford to buy me the name brand shoes and all of that. So I would get a pair of shoes, before 12 years old. I would get me a pair of shoes. I'd be happy when my parents get them to me. But once I step out amongst other peers, I felt horrible because of the backlash I was getting from others. But I didn't consider that bullying.
Yeah. Well, bullying really wasn't talked about, at least to my knowledge, that much back then. We talked about drugs and things like that in school, but I don't remember or recall being taught how to deal with bullies and parents being educated on bullies. I was teased a lot, especially about my skin complexion, so I hated being chocolate. You know what I'm saying? I hated it
Exactly.
for a long time, but after a while, and it didn't change until I became an adult.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
once I became an adult, then that's when I started to see me for who I am. You know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
started to love myself and embrace myself. And you have to tell yourself positive affirmations like, I am beautiful, I am smart, and things like that. But children don't know to do that. They don't come out the womb knowing to do that. So that's something
Exactly.
that we have to teach them. And my
Mm.
son, my middle son, he dealt with bullying a lot. He had, he was dealing with he has some special needs that he deals with. So he takes it hard just like any other child would. But when you go to the school and you talk to them about it, I understand that, mom, because it makes you feel like they ignore you, like nobody's listening, they don't care. So I can imagine how they make my child feel when I'm not there, if they're making me as a parent feel like I'm irrelevant or I don't mean anything or I'm nothing because I
Exactly.
don't contribute X amount of money to the PTA. I can contribute, whatever, but I'm not one of the parents that can build a whole gym school. So, but
Exactly.
that does not mean that my child does not matter.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, how do you deal with that as far as with him being that the school you feel like the school is not doing their part? So
Well,
how
if
go ahead.
I fought for many years. It eventually got to the point where I had to take him out and start homeschooling him. That was just my decision. I have proof now from actual, like a neuropsychologist, independent occupational therapy. I made the school pay. It was a specific letter that I sent, and I
Mhm.
made the school pay for an independent speech therapy evaluation and an independent occupational therapy evaluation. They will not do it unless you send a certain letter. Uh, they paid for it, and I
And
got a phone.
hold on, not to cut you off. Anybody that need to know any information about that, hit us up in inbox.
Yes.
Her name and under my Facebook page is Jones Latrice, or hit me up and I will get the information from her. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I say that.
Yeah. No problem. It's all about helping each other because that's what
Exactly.
made me look for the letter. I had joined a parent ADH group on Facebook, and I just started reading comments. And all I needed was certain keywords, and I knew, okay, let me go type this in Google, and I found the letter. But the speech, the no, it was the speech therapist called me and said the school was trying to force her, well, the lady over the special needs program for the county was trying to force her to change my son's evaluation to match the schools because what
Wow.
she put was the truth, and it showed that the school was what they had in his IEP plan, his individualized education plan, was completely wrong. So they also did the same thing to the occupational therapists as well. They refused to change it. They left it as it was. At that point, I'm like, okay, I have proof to show what the school is doing is wrong. The principal had the nerves to tell me, your son's going to be held back. This is how I found out. Your son's going to be held back next year. You can go to the Board of Education all you want. There's nothing you can do. So he not only was he dealing with bullying, he was dealing with that. And I felt like that was a form of bullying from their standpoint towards me, you know.
Mhm.
But I dealt with it. And as far as my daughter, I didn't know for a long time. I knew my baby wasn't my baby. I knew she was sad, and I will always say, I'm here for you. Reach out to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I wasn't educated at that time on mental health. I wasn't aware of the terminology as far as like all the different components that go into mental health. I just knew the myths that you hear in, okay, well, maybe I could put her in therapy. But I had never been to therapy at that time. So I didn't really know how to help her. I didn't know how to teach her how to help herself.
And you didn't believe in it because you wasn't even told nothing too much.
Right,
But
right.
cousin, I want you to hold that thought. We're
Okay.
gonna go ahead and play another clip from a mother standpoint, and which is actually Sevens, the little boy that they were just talking about. It is his mother, and she says something at the end that really touched my heart. And I also have it on the screen just as well. Not the stuff that I got up here now, but once the video start, it'll pop up. So what I'm gonna do is take this off the screen right now because I want to make sure you guys see what I have written up there. And here we go.
Little dude, so happy.
From birth, Seven was his parents' joy. The child doctor said Tammy Charles couldn't have.
You're a miracle baby, huh?
Absolutely. I told him over and over, Daddy and I love you so much. And this is something that we always did.
But last year, at 10 years old, they lost him to suicide in their home in Louisville, Kentucky.
We teach our children about stranger danger or guns or any other type of outward hurt that we try to protect them from. This is one that I was blindsided by. My 10-and-a-half-year-old son, my miracle child, my only child, was dead.
A study commissioned by the Congressional Black Caucus shows in recent years, self-reported suicide attempts by black teens increased by 73%. The rate decreased for white teens. Black children younger than 13 were twice as likely to die by suicide than white children.
Really shocking.
NYU professor Michael Lindsay led the study.
Why is this happening?
I think we have to talk about the racism and discrimination that is prevailing in our society. That trauma, I think, is engendering a sense of hopelessness for kids, wondering if their life really matters.
Tammy advocated for her son, trying to get him help, and worked with his school after she says he was bullied, called the N-word, and choked on the school bus just months before his death.
I miss most his smile. I miss calling his name, and I miss hearing someone call me mommy. That is what I miss the most.
Baby.
That's heartbreaking.
She said that was her only child. And she missed hearing somebody just say mommy to her.
Yeah.
You know, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a lot of different reasons. Of course, we all know that for suicide, whether you're a child or whether you're an adult. There's a lot of different reasons that people choose to commit suicide.
Yeah.
But as far as in our black community, which is what we're here talking about tonight, I think a lot of it has to do with what's the word I want to use? The way we have to flaunt things. You know, we got to have the nicest cars. We got to have the nicest shoes. We got to have the nicest clothes. But sometimes our pockets don't acquire that.
Yeah.
So once some of these children get out there in the world and they mama and daddy can't get them that stuff, not saying that's, of course, the main reason, because like I said, it's several different reasons. But you have these kids at school bullying them, talking about them, treating them like crap. And like some of these kids said, us parents don't know. Because like the lady said, she thought she had a perfect child. He was tutoring and everything. I gotta make sure I keep saying tutoring. Because he was tutoring. You know what I'm saying? He was tutoring. But a lot of parents don't know what goes on once they hit them school doors.
Yeah. I agree with Bambi. That says, I feel like the parents don't know how to handle mental health issues because their parents wouldn't talk about it, like a generational curse. Bambi, you hit it on the freaking nail. I'm telling you.
Yep.
A part of my podcast is breaking generational curses. You know, and honestly, you got to take it all the way back to slavery. You really do, to think about mental health. We weren't afforded the time or the opportunities back then to address mental health issues. Think about the things and the abuse and the trauma that we witnessed as a Black people and that we saw and that we endured. So we were taught to what? Get over it, pray about
Get
it.
over it.
And so that became a generational thing. Get over it, pray about it.
Pray about it.
And so when our grandparents came along, they were taught the same thing. Get over, pray about it. So our parents came along. What do you think they were taught? Just pray about it. Now, people, I feel like our community is just now starting to come around to the point where it's like, oh, let me see what this therapy thing is all about. I'm one of them people too. I was in intensive therapy from intense child abuse from October of last year to February of this year. You know, because I had never dealt with those issues in the past, and it just kept piling on and piling on and piling on, one on top of the other. You know, I do want to say this real quick that today I was doing some studying for my podcast. I was working on anxiety part 2. And it says the National Survey of Children's Health Studies show that children under the age of 17 have experienced one or more adverse traumatic events. So when you think about traumatic events, there's like racism, there's something we're dealing with now in the world, divorce, domestic abuse, parents moving around a lot, poverty, what you talked about on when you weren't poor, what you talked about earlier, how your parents bought you the other shoes, violence or abuse at home or abuse that they're witnessing. So all those types of things play into kids' minds, and it deals with their neurotransmitters, and it sends those signals through their body saying this environment is not safe, or you're not safe, or you lost your security, or like the man was saying on the video, there's no hope for you.
Okay, so what you say, because I'm going to hit you with this. What you say about them parents that be like, oh, my kids, they too little. They don't see nothing. Which I know that's crap, because I've worked at so many daycare centers where people didn't have a choice but to bring their kids, drop them off, and they're with me longer than they're with you, really.
Yeah.
But I know that kids see and they understand, they know what's going on. But what do you say to those parents that feel that way? That they babies understand this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Lauren.
So, I actually have something to add to that. 2 of my friends in middle school were repeatedly told that, they were too young, they didn't experience enough of life to really feel sad, they couldn't be allowed to feel sad. One of my closest friends now, she's still being told that. And, we've talked about it enough to know, for her to know that that's not true. And that she's allowed to have those feelings and experience them and to express how she feels. My other friend, who's not alive right now, he actually succumbed to suicide as a result from that and from bullying from school. So he was bullied from school, and he would come back home, and I'm not sure everything that happened in his home life, but I know that many people would tell him that, you're too young, this is middle school. So, a lot of people a lot of people who weren't knowledgeable enough would tell him that, you're too young to experience that. But I feel like they don't realize that they really can go through a lot, because children, they learn a lot of things from their house. They learn a lot of things from home. So they go to school, they apply what they've learned to other kids, and then boom, you have bullying going on. Then that really starts up depression and anxiety and other mental issues.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, you said that you had a friend that committed suicide. I say committed. I heard what you said, but I say committed, so I'm just gonna say committed. So you had a friend that committed suicide. How that makes you feel? And let me tell you why I say this. Now, and I hope no one takes me the wrong way when I say this, Lord, please don't have nobody take me the wrong way. But I feel like sometimes when people commit suicide, or just like when people kill somebody and go to jail for a long time, or just do anything to where they go to jail for a long time, or they commit suicide, I feel like they may not think about how their loved ones is gonna hurt and crumble. Did I say that right, Sarita?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want nobody to take what I'm saying the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I feel like if any of my family members or friends that I'm like really close to commit suicide, I would be devastated.
Mm-hmm.
Cry every day. So how do you feel being that you lost someone through suicide?
So when it actually
And
first
Bambi, we're
happened,
gonna read your comment, Bambi. That's why I got it up here, baby. We got you. Go ahead.
so when it first happened, it was actually over the weekend. And my mom had got an email from the school saying that a student had committed suicide. And she had told me about it, and I was like, dang, that's kind of messed up. I hope their family's okay. But, I didn't, I guess I couldn't really do much, so I just kind of just went about my weekend. But then Monday came, and I started thinking about it again. I was like, I don't know, I have a really bad feeling. And then so me and my other friend, we was just walking through the hallways. I went ahead and went to my class, because I really didn't have that many friends at that age. It was her and then that other guy. And so she was walking through the hallways looking for her friend, but she didn't see him. And then so she texted me. She was like, she had told me, she was like, I don't see him. I'm scared. And then so she went back to her class anyway. And then so the teachers had came in there, and it was like they was just broke down crying. And then they finally said he died. And we, like, everybody was just shocked because he was the one to really like light up a room. Like, yes, he was being bullied, but you wouldn't know that, I guess, from the way he will always light up a room. He will always make everybody laugh. And then I always feel like for those types of people, they really do get overlooked, and they don't get taken seriously when they say they need help, because if you're not externally showing it, how do you really have it, but he was just one of those types to hide it so he can make everyone else smile so they wouldn't feel the way that he did. And
And
so
a lot of comedians say that.
Yeah.
A lot of comedians say that that's why they are comedians, because they were bullied or they were going through whatever they was going through, and they felt like all they could do was just try to make people laugh to keep from hurting inside,
Yeah.
and it keep them being at least trying to be their friends. You know what I'm saying? But wow. But what else you were saying, Lauren?
And so when they first said that he died, I was shocked, but I didn't actually cry. And then so I guess it just took me a while to really settle into that truth, and really, come to terms with the fact that he was actually dead. It actually took me until I got home. Like, as soon as I stepped foot in the door, I told my mom, and I just broke down crying. And like, we just kind of stood there for a second, hugging each other, because I just couldn't believe it. And then so, like, about around like the next few weeks or so, I was just feeling down and sad the whole time. I was already depressed, but I went even deeper into the hole after that, because
And I didn't know how to help her during that time. I didn't know how to deal with suicide. I didn't know what to say to my child. And those are the type of things that we need to learn, and we need to educate people on in our community, because then it just makes you feel like you don't want your child to feel like you don't care. You just don't know
Mm-hmm.
what to say. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to be there for them, And so we need to learn how to show up, how to advocate for our kids, how to be there for them when they need us, how to teach them about self-care, mental illness, different things. Even stuff like I could have been like, okay, Lauren, well, let's go walking so she can work on letting that out. Let's try yoga together. I was telling you last night,
Mm-hmm.
something you can do is go on YouTube. Many TVs got YouTube on it now. Get your kids up front and say, okay, y'all, we're going to do yoga together, so they can start learning how to let that stress out. But when things actually happen, it's like, what do we do? And
Is
that's a big issue. I don't want to say issue, but problem that I feel we have in our community, since we're specifically talking about our community today.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Let's read Bambi's. You want to read Bambi's? Because we got some comments in here that we need to read. So you go do Bambi's and then I'll read Couture's.
Okay. It says, and another reason parents don't know about their kids being depressed or sad is because, well, that's your parent. They work hard for us, and kids might feel like they burden your parents. That's true, because if Lauren has told me, before about that, like, I didn't want you to feel no kind of way, or I know you're working hard, or I know you're this, and it's like, no, baby, I don't care. Come to me. I'm fortunate enough to be able to work from home now, so I'm home with them 24/7, which I have been for years. But not every parent has that opportunity, and that just
Exactly.
really, really gets to me.
Exactly.
It really hurts.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna read Couture now. It's gonna cover up the screen, y'all. She got a lot to say. So here we go. I teach Demi every day about bullying because this life is cruel. The sad thing is, after all the teaching I did, the school called and said she was bullying a little girl who was considered to be her best friend. They said that she was pressured by another girl who was a bully. Side note, Demi has been bullied and knows how it feels, and that's why it broke my heart to hear this. At this point, I know that I have to go harder as her grandmother to prevent mine from being a bully because bully, Couture, that's all I got. That's all I got. You ran out of road. But finish that. Finish it, cuz. But I like that though. She
Yeah.
basically had a little twist to it. Her granddaughter was being bullied at first, and then she gets a phone call saying that now her granddaughter is the bully. So how do we handle those situations just as well? Because like she said, she knew how it felt because she was being bullied. So she knows it's not a good feeling. So why would you turn around and go and do that to someone else?
It's important as a parent. Like, let me say this. I never understood those families that support people that are doing the wrong thing in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you know that person has caused harm to somebody, then why would you support that? You know what I'm saying? Not saying you don't have to love them, but you don't have to support that. So it's important. I like what Couture did. She's teaching her daughter, not
Exactly.
just ignoring it. It is
Granddaughter.
very important
Mhm.
to address it as soon as it happens, before it gets too far out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And we got to be real with it. We can't just be there like, well, that's my baby, and don't address it, because then your child is going to become an adult bully if you don't address it. Or if you are a bully and nobody is teaching you how to be assertive, how to stand up for yourself, then you're going to become an adult that people are going to run over until you get tired, and maybe hopefully you'll learn how to be assertive. But then you might have anger inside because of that. And so your responses are going to reflect that. You know what I'm saying? All of that
Mhm.
goes back to all of that kind of goes back to mental illness. Depression is mental illness. You know what I'm saying? Anxiety, PTSD, things like that. So it's just this whole cycle that's going on that we have to talk about in our community.
Exactly. And we that when I tell you it can go so far left with this,
Yeah,
because I know we ain't talking about it, but police brutality,
yeah,
you know, they probably done went through some stuff with some of these people, black people, when they was young in school. That movie with Kevin Hart,
mhm,
and Tiffany Haddish,
yeah,
Night School,
yeah,
and how the principal he came in and Kevin Hart came to night school and he ready to give him a hard time.
yeah,
Because of how he treated him and how Kevin Hart bullied him when he was young.
yeah,
But here you think we grown now. Everybody over that. No, that sometimes pour into their adult life just as well.
yeah. And so that's what and the point of therapy is to take is to break down all that stuff, right? So because sometimes we're like, why do I act this way? Why do I behave this way? Why do I respond this way? Every time somebody says something to me, I found myself snapping off. Why do I do that? And so that's where, you know, you should get with a good therapist, somebody that pours into you. You don't want nobody that you just sitting on the couch talking to and they're not. You want somebody that's pouring into your soul, into your spirit, into
Yeah,
your mind. You want somebody that's going to educate you and teach you while you're getting that out. Because a lot of times we have gone through trauma or experienced traumatic events. It might not even happen in our household. Like it can be, like you say, police brutality. Okay,
yeah,
that can cause PTSD in people. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't deal with those underlying issues, then we're never going to get to that point of, as they say, self actualization is where we all try to go to. You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs food, everybody needs water, like the Maslow hierarchy. But the point is to get to the top to where we're at self actualization, where we have mastered everything and we know that you can't be happy all the time. But the goal is to be at peace in life.
exactly.
And we need to teach our kids that.
And one thing I want to tell you guys, please, please, please make sure you check out my cousin's podcast on Spotify. We showed it to you guys. I'm going to show it to you again at the end. But Sarita, one thing that you said on that podcast, you gave an example of so many different reasons that a person would have anxiety. And there was one thing on there that you said that I know that I have an anxiety over. Actually, it was a lot of them that you said, but it was one of them that I actually learned from. And I'm like, that's why I am the way that I am, because of weapons.
Yeah.
I am so terrified of guns. So terrified. Don't want my kids playing with them, not even water guns. Bought a brand new set, and I ain't even opened the box yet because I'm still
Yeah.
trying to determine what I want to do. But they water guns. But I remember I was 9 years old, and I'm riding with my cousin in a whole nother city without my parents visiting, and I'm riding with her, and her ex-boyfriend cuts us off, and I'm in the front seat with her, and he gets out the car and just starts shooting at us at the age of 9 years old. Thank God no one got hit or anything like that. But I do believe that did something to me.
It
Like,
did.
even if I see somebody with a gun in their their waistbands, I just freak out.
Hmm.
And when you said that, because you said that you had to think about something that you've been through,
Yeah.
but that's the only thing that I could think of that was just so traumatic
Yeah.
that it would have me acting like this.
And see, a lot of times you don't think about it.
Hmm.
You don't connect the dots. We hold
Exactly.
that, but we don't realize that we're holding that stuff in. And then, there's a lot of people like myself that have stomach issues, gastro issues. And I've been going to a gastro doctor for years. And it took for me to go to start my therapy in October to actually realize that my gastro issues more than likely was because of all that trauma that I went through. It affects your nerves. Your nervous system is affected. And it just does so much to your body. And not to be TMI, but I noticed the symptoms like my pain, stomach pains, slowly started to go away the more I processed in therapy. So, with that being said, though, it makes me want to know, like, do you ever feel like you have maybe gastro issues, or not just that, maybe headaches? Sometimes it can cause people to have headaches all the
Hmm.
time, and sometimes you don't realize why. And when you look at those guns, and kind of on something else real quick, that's like PTSD. That's what PTSD is. We're only taught PTSD when it comes to the military, but that is what post-traumatic syndrome looks like. But we don't know that because it's
Exactly.
not talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Mama left a comment. She said the pain that children is experiencing, they don't think about um Yeah, she didn't write it right. I'm sorry. It's a little spell check. It's okay, mama. I'm gonna get it. The pain that the children experience that they don't think about their parents because they want to end the pain and feel there was no way out
Yeah.
and felt like there was no way out. So they didn't want to hurt their parents at all, but they felt like there was no other way.
Or maybe they feel like they're a burden to their parents.
Yep, a burden to their parents.
Yeah.
I actually ran across a video. I don't want to play it. I didn't even record it or anything because it was a letter. And it probably would have been good to read for, people to see, but I just didn't want to. But it was a letter that this girl found about 2 years later, 2 or 3 years later. And it was a suicidal letter that she wrote to her parents. And when I tell you, I couldn't even finish the video. It was just too much. But you can go on YouTube and you can find those things. Now, one thing I did want to say, since we're talking about the Black community, you can go on YouTube and you can find so much music, Black people music. You can find but Black people acting crazy on the news broadcast, Black people funny clips where they're doing their own thing. Just you can find so much. But for them to say that the races is so high for suicide for the Black community, I could not hardly find. I mean, no more than 10. No more than 10 clips, if that. And I typed in all different types of ways, and you couldn't. It was nowhere.
Because
if you find it, it's somebody else talking about it, but you don't find the news clip for it. Just sad. But what you was gonna say?
it's just like like we don't matter. It makes think about this. You can go on Pinterest, type in woman with braids. I kid you not. I had a whole bunch of white women pop up. I had to literally type it in for real. I was like, the hell. So I had to go in there and actually type in African American or Black woman
Yep.
for it to pop up. What white woman walked around with some damn braids like literally every day, all day?
Every day.
And that's what it's like. Like we don't even exist. So it's up to us to do that work and to get this out there like what we're doing right now and to spread the news of the gospel, as they say. And Bambi, I agree. When she said I just did a project, poverty plays a role. I just spoke about that earlier when I was saying that the National Survey of Children's Health Studies showed that children under 17 experience one or more traumatic events, and poverty is a traumatic event that can lead to depression, that can lead to anxiety, that can lead to bullying, and then your child can develop mental illness or have a chemical imbalance. And then, but if we're not aware of that, we don't know the signs. The signs of a chemical imbalance for kids that you look for in your child is irritability. Is your child irritated all the time? Do they have a lack of energy? Are they sad? Does it seem like they just empty all the time? Are they overeating? I became an overeater. And my family didn't understand that was a signal that something was wrong with me. And they would laugh and say, girl, you eating all that food, and laugh because they thought it was funny. It was so bad to the point where my dog literally was eating off my plate. And I was so zoned out from my trauma that I had no idea my dog was eating off my plate because I was zoned out until my family said, that dog always eating off your plate. I don't know why. And I'm like, why would you sit there and let that happen? Why would you let that happen? That things like that should be a signal something's not right with my child. Oversleeping. If your child is sleeping all the time, or if they have insomnia, those are the things that we got to learn how to address and how to help our kids with. We can't do all the work for them, but we can give them the tools. You can look up cognitive behavior therapy. You can look up dialectical behavior therapy. And I talk about that on my podcast too, different coping skills so that we can help them and try to keep them from getting to the point where they feel like they have to commit suicide. They like they don't want to live here anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. I want to play this clip. And I want to thank each and every one of you, first of all, for being here tonight. We definitely appreciate it. This is something that has to be said in our community. So we're here. Anybody have anything in the comments you want to say? Please feel free. We thank you all for your comments. And I want to play this video. I wasn't going to play it. That's why it didn't pop up and bring us down, because I wasn't going to play it. I might not play it all. It all depends on how it goes. But I want to play this, and because a lot of people ask, how are we supposed to know? When our kids is headed down that path. You know, like the young lady said, her child she thought he was perfect. So how are we supposed to know? So I'm finna play this. And now, Sarita, we can hit our mute buttons.
Okay.
All right.
I have my ups and downs, just like anybody else.
Maybe more than anybody else.
I can be hard to figure out.
And I like my privacy. I don't want you looking over my shoulder all the time.
But you know your kid better than anybody else. And if you think he's acting different than usual...
Acting really down, crying all the time for no good reason.
Or getting really mad, not able to sleep, or sleeping too much.
Shutting her friends out or giving her stuff away.
Acting reckless, drinking, using drugs, staying out late.
Suddenly not doing stuff he used to love.
Or doing stuff that's just not like him.
It might be nothing to worry about. It might just be high school.
Or it might be something more. He might be depressed.
Not just feeling down, really depressed.
It might be that your kid is thinking about killing himself. It happens. More than you think. More than it should.
And people say, I had no idea.
I thought it was just a phase he was going through.
I never thought she'd do it.
I wish he'd come to me.
I wish he'd said something.
I wish I'd said something.
When it's too late. So if you think your kid's acting different, if she seems like a different person, say something.
Say, what's wrong? How can I help?
And ask straight out. Are you thinking about killing yourself? It doesn't hurt to ask. In fact, it helps.
When people are thinking about killing themselves, they want somebody to ask. They want somebody to care.
Maybe you're afraid you'll make it worse if you ask. Like, you'll put the idea in their head.
Believe me, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
In fact, the best way to keep a teenager from killing herself is to ask, are you thinking about killing yourself?
And what if they say yes?
Or maybe.
Or sometimes.
Well, here's what you don't say.
That's crazy.
Don't be such a drama queen.
You're making too much of this.
That boy's not worth killing
yourself
over.
It's not going to solve anything.
You're just trying to get attention.
You're not going to kill yourself. What you do say is,
I'm sorry you're feeling so bad.
How can I help? We'll get through this together.
Let's keep you safe.
A lot of people think about killing themselves. Adults and kids. Most of them never try it, but some of them do. So if your kid says,
I'd be better off dead.
I can't live with this.
I'm gonna kill myself, take her seriously. Find someone she can talk to about it. Someone who knows how to help.
Sometimes kids want to kill themselves because something happened. A breakup, a failure. But sometimes it goes deeper, and it's not going to go away by itself.
Get some help. Talk to your doctor.
Or a counselor at school.
Or your minister.
But don't just let it drop.
And make sure that your kid always has someone to turn to. Someone he trusts.
Make a list together, right then. 3, 4, 5 names.
Put a suicide hotline number on there too.
Have him keep that list in his wallet, so he always knows where to turn.
Make sure your home is safe.
If you have pills she could use to hurt herself, lock them up.
If you have a gun, don't just lock it up. Get it out of the house. The bullets too.
And one more thing. If you think your kid might be about to hurt himself, don't leave him alone.
Take him to the emergency room.
Call 911 if you have to.
We all have our ups and downs, but sometimes it's more than that.
If you think something's wrong, the only way to find out is to ask.
Ask straight out. Are you thinking about killing yourself?
Don't wait until you're sure. Trust your gut, because it never hurts to ask.
And it can make a big difference.
All the difference. In your kid's life.
I couldn't stop it. But what better way to explain this, Sarita? Have the kids tell us, and that's how I looked at it. Let them tell us. Lauren, I appreciate you coming telling your story. I really, really appreciate it. Now, I do have one more video to show, and here we go.
So intricate. Trey Lee says for years he struggled with depression.
I would have this impulse to get that knife, and I would be like so tempted to just put it right through me and end it all.
At 13, he attempted suicide.
I just noticed my arm was bleeding. I noticed I had a knife in my hand, and I didn't know what in the world I was doing.
Trey's battle is a reality for far too many children, especially blacks. A recent study shows suicide rates for black children aged 5 to 12 were 2 times higher than white kids of the same age. Kathy Williams has made it her mission to help.
I will not stop, and especially in the black community, because we don't think it happens to us.
And that pain is just as powerful today as it was in 19.
That's Torian.
Her only child, Torian, was an all-American kid, an honor student who played the saxophone in the church band and loved basketball.
He was 15.
He was clowning around on his bicycle the day before she found him dead at home from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
I saw moodiness. I saw irritability, but we were not looking at it that way. We were looking at these signs as being typical teenage behavior.
But doctors warn these can be typical signs of depression.
What you're looking for is a number of those symptoms clustering together over a 2 or 3 week period. And so if you keep seeing it, maybe this is something we need to go get some help for.
Yet research shows Black and Hispanic children are less likely to get mental health care than white kids.
Education and career. If that stresses you, stand up.
Now 16, Trey meets with a support group in Durham, North Carolina, focused on breaking the silence about suicide in the Black community.
Black folk would not talk about if somebody died by suicide. It was like it was a shame. They would sweep it under the rug.
99% of me want to die, but that 1% of me said, no, you can handle this.
There you go.
It's important to be vulnerable at times, because I feel like being vulnerable, sharing our experiences with one another can help each other grow, we can learn from each other in our community by being vulnerable, within our community. We gotta start addressing the issue, and it's tough. Sometimes we're overwhelmed with work, trying to pay bills, things like that, but we still have to make sure we're attentive to our kids.
We have to.
It was a challenge for me.
Yeah, and it actually affected me too, like the way that she hid her feelings from us. When I was dealing with depression in middle school, I didn't know that she was feeling that way as well. Like I knew like she would stay in her room a lot, but I didn't know the telltale signs of depression. And when you see symptoms, you don't want to overthink anything. So you just kind of set it off to the side. So, I was just thinking, dang, I'm just kind of all on my own. And I was actually this close to going through with the suicide. But as soon as I was, actually going to go through with it, my mom had actually came in the house, I guess from doing like errands or something, but she had walked in the house, and I was like, I can't do this. I didn't want her to see me just laid out on the floor. I didn't want her to see me like that. She's always been there for me. I didn't want her to feel like she never did enough. With the suicide from my other friend, I've seen how it affected me and my other friends, and it made me feel even more guilty that I wanted to do that. And I didn't know just how much it would affect them, so I just decided to lay off of that. And I'm really glad I did, because I made it such a long way, and it's made such a difference.
Yeah, me going when I went to therapy, not
Hold
only
on, Sarita. Hold on 1 second before you say anything else. Hold on. Remember that thought.
Okay.
Lauren, I want to go back to Lauren for a second. Lauren, I remember coming over to your mom's house years and years ago. You was only 3 years old, and your mom said, "Tennille, Pooley." Me and Pooley both came in there. and you're 18 now, and your mom said, "Oh my gosh, she can read. Y'all watch this." She said, "Go get a book." You really got, I don't even know what book this was. It wasn't no kitty book or nothing. You just went and got a book and you read that book. And like I told you when you came up here, you was reading before you even knew you could read. You don't even remember that. But I want you to, being that you have explained what you've been through, you was in a situation where you was very, very close to committing suicide. I want you to let everyone know your accolades. Let everyone know from the whole time you was in high school and what you're doing right now, and just let them know
So, what are
your
accolades?
grades, and all of that.
What are accolades?
She's talking about like your grades, your
Oh,
achievements.
Your achievements.
Let's see. I've made it with honor roll almost every school year. I think the only one was like 10th grade that I didn't get honor roll. I also did a program, this SLAM program. I'm not sure if you guys know about it, but it's a Jackson Heart Study program where you actually get money from it, and you kind of get like it's kind of like college classes, but not, you know, officially college classes, but you get taught by college professors and all that. And it was really challenging, and I believe I got first place in a lot of things. I can't remember them right now, but I got first place. I always place either first, second, or third in either of those classes.
And that was at Tougaloo for any parents that may be in Mississippi that may watch this now or later on down the road. That Heart Study program is on their website.
Okay. And you have finished a year in college?
A semester.
A
Well,
semester.
she started in high school when she was taking the AP classes. She was very determined. Lauren is so organized and so detailed. It's just amazing to me. Like, I have to go to her for help at times, you know. But she was on top of it. I never had to ask her, "Did you turn in your homework?" or anything like that. She just took life by the horns and just went and did it. She took her AP classes. She made sure that she went to school so she can be exempt out. What you sound like exempt out the test. And then whenever she did take tests, she wanted to make sure she scored high enough so it would count as a college credit. And then while in high school, of course, she took college classes. And then she transferred to the same community college she was going to in high school. And she had big scholarship offers. But what I really liked is that she was very assertive about, no, they don't have my degree there. I don't want to go there just because they gave me a scholarship. So she decided to go to a community college, which is still paid for via scholarships. And then she was able, of course, to get money back. And then she's going to transfer to a 4-year university, and then that will give her a scholarship from the community college, and that'll go towards the 4-year university by doing it that way as well. So we can't be afraid in our community to allow our children to go to community colleges. Sometimes there's a stigma around that. I mean, she could have got into Harvard or wherever she wanted to go, but it's cheaper to go to a community college in the beginning to do your core classes, and then when you get ready to go to a 4-year university, you're ready to jump into your career, the classes that are going to take you to your career, and then you get extra scholarships for that. So in our community, we really need to start taking advantage of those opportunities.
Exactly. And Lauren, what are you going to school for? What is your dream job? What are you trying to be?
Um, I'm not sure if I have a specific dream job, but I say maybe my dream job would involve languages. I also love art, but I don't think I would pursue a career in art. I'd probably just do that as a hobby. But I'm going to college for linguistics. That's actually the study of languages, and you can actually do so much with that degree. not many people really dive into that field, mainly because they're not knowledgeable about it. Or
yeah, Lauren, that would be right, girl. Just so that you know. Because I'm sitting over here like, what is linguistic? You know, and I'm sure a lot of us don't know what it was, what it is. Your mom did briefly educate me on it. But for the ones that was just like me before your mama educated me, what does that mean? What exactly in our language? What you trying to do?
So like the careers that you can actually do, I was thinking of being a linguistics for the FBI. And I was also thinking
And
of being
what would you be doing if you was the linguistics for the FBI?
if I was a linguist for the FBI, it's really a lot of different things you can do, but at least one of them would be an example. One of them would be, imagine you're going after a criminal, and they leave notes behind with their crimes, or they send notes to the police officers or something. Me as a linguist, I could look at those notes, see habits in their writing, and connect them, associate them with one person.
That's my cousin. That's my cousin. My little cousin. Yeah. Girl, when your mama told me that, I said, she trying to be a detective. I like, what science and detective? I'm not getting that.
I didn't even know what linguistics was until last year. I was really first gonna go into the medical field, but that lifestyle I just felt was too busy for me. So I was like, okay, well, let me just do something where I can still challenge myself, but it won't be, as difficult as that.
Yeah, where you can still enjoy life.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Well, we are so proud of you, all the peaches out there that's watching. Lauren, we are so proud of you. As you can see, we have Audra that said, you are so awesome. Veronica said, OMG, I'm so proud of this young lady. Congratulations. Latoria said, congratulations. And Fred, hey Fred. Fred said, so awesome. And of course, Mama said, all right, niece. All right, niece. But yes, I am so glad that you ladies came to join me tonight. I'm glad for all the peaches that came out to join us tonight. This was something that was very dear to me to talk about. I reached out to Sarita. I actually thought that it was just going to be me and Sarita on here until Sarita surprised me and said, no, Lauren said she want to come too. And I'm like, okay, all right, we can go ahead and make this a family event. So I really appreciate it. This means a lot to me. I don't know where Peachy Tea Time is going to take me at this point. I know it's going to take me somewhere high, but Lauren, I want you to know I would never, ever forget this episode tonight. Never. I will carry this episode with me for the rest of my life because you did not have to come on here at your age and be as what's the word I want to say? I be trying to think of stuff, but to let everyone know, so much about your background at your age. Some kids try to hide it, and that's not the way to go. You can help so many young adults out there. That's in your that was in your situation. I feel like a lot of people. Thank you, Fred. We are going to the top. Yeah. But I feel that a lot of young people and adults as well don't want to come out in our Black community to tell these things or to tell these feelings that they're having because they're afraid of being bullied or feeling ashamed or hurt or feel like people going to talk about them. So what you did tonight, you did that. That's what you did. Okay. You did that. So look, no, she's 18, mama. She just said she just turned 18. She's 18.
And that just takes me back real quick. Real quick, but when Lauren,
take your time,
said,
girl.
Look, I'm stuttering. But that just reminds me of what I was getting ready to say earlier. You just brought that back to my attention. When I was dealing with depression, it had got so bad to the point where I was faking it for a while. I thought I was. I was trying to, for my kids' sakes, because I didn't want them to know that I was sad. Like when she was saying, I was hiding my emotions from them. And it got to a point where both of my sons ended up being diagnosed with as type 1 diabetics. They both ended up in a hospital in the ICU, well, the pediatric ICU unit at different times, like 1 week after the next. And then one of my children ended up going into anaphylactic shock about 2 days after he got out the hospital and had to go back. That was the tipping point for me. I couldn't walk in Kroger. I couldn't walk in Walmart. There was nothing I could do uh, in public where I could keep a straight face. Tears would just roll down my face. I'm like, I'm just in here trying to get some chicken, you know what I'm saying, for dinner. But the tears kept on coming. And I was like, y'all, like, talking to these tears, y'all got to stop this. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I? It was like uncontrollable. So thank God for pickup orders through COVID. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I did. I did a lot of stuff through pickup orders. And that's when I said, enough is enough. I have got to get help. And so my doctor, we had a telehealth appointment, and she's a Black woman. And so sometimes all it takes is one question. She said, "What is going on with you?" And I broke down. I cried like a baby. And she let me get my tears out. And at the end, she told me that she wanted to recommend me to a therapy program, behavioral health program. But I didn't want to go to the program she referred me to. I found one that was closer to me. And that was the best decision in my life I could have ever made. I took time off from work. You can take a mental health break from work. We know we can take off work for pregnancy. We can take off work for surgeries. But a lot of us don't know that our doctors can fill out the forms, and we can take off short-term disability for mental health help. I had never heard of that. I did not even know that was an option. And I was like, I still get paid, sign me up.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
I need my tambourine. Look. My phone.
Girl. But I get it. I get it. I was not taught about therapists and counselors and all that stuff. Up until, like I told you earlier, up until I lost my son, and I think if it would have been just a miscarriage, I don't think I would have even considered it. But being that he was a twin to my daughter, the doctors kept telling me, because he was stillborn, so they kept telling me, he's not alive, but you have to go to see a therapist. And I kept telling them, no, I don't need to. I'm fine. All I want to do is just go home. I don't need to go see one. And then I noticed that as I would take my son's things back to the store to exchange them to get things for my daughter's room, I would be in there so happy shopping for her, because she was my only girl coming. But when I would leave out of the store before I could even make it to the car, I would cry.
Yeah.
I mean, who cry? Then get inside the car and I'm study crying. And that's when I realized, okay, maybe I could try it out and see if something can happen or if it can make a difference. And I thank God that I went, because it definitely helped me to prepare for the delivery, at that time. So therapy definitely helps, as long as you got the right person.
Yeah. It was a group of people that I had. I was in therapy for 4 hours a day. It was virtual because of COVID, through behavioral health. So it was like
half of a damn work day.
Huh?
That's half of a work day.
Yeah.
Hours.
Yeah. But you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it, because you meet people. A lot of it was group therapy, and at first I was nervous, but I said, you know what? If I signed up for this, and I had already met my insurance deductible, thank the Lord. Okay.
You know, I know about that. I work for the hospital, y'all. We will be calling you. I won't be calling you, but the people I
So
send the bill to, yeah, they'll be calling you.
right. So, I didn't have to worry about that. And I've said, you know what? I'm gonna just jump in here. I'm gonna jump all in. And
Got to be all
we end up feeding off each other, you know what I'm saying, all the other group members or whatever. And so I'm friends with some of them on Facebook now. We have each other phone numbers. We can help hold each other accountable because we know each other's triggers. Like there's one that was in my group that had a trigger about tornadoes, and then we were kind of sort of in a tornado yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So that let me know. Oh, let me check on so and so. You
Exactly.
know, but I will say this. I do want to get this out. Being in therapy, I feel, has helped me with my relationship with my children.
Okay.
I learned that I need to be more open with them, and I needed to be vulnerable with my children so that they can understand what mommy was going through, because they can obviously see it. They can see me not want. I didn't even want to get out the bed, but I had to. I had to cook. I had to do things because both of my sons, like I said, have diabetes. So I couldn't just be like, y'all go fix a hot dog or whatever all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it has helped me. I've learned how to open up to my kids. I've learned how to listen to them. I've learned how to accept them for who they are. Like I have one son that doesn't like to be called boo, because I was like, hey boo. But instead of being like, I'm gonna call you boo anyway, you just a child, I said, you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna go by that. So I don't call him boo. Or when I do, I say, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot you don't like to be called boo. You know what I'm saying? But
Uh-huh.
kids have feelings. They
Yeah.
have emotions just like we do. And it's important for us to allow them to express themselves. And it's important for us to be vulnerable with them as well, so they can see us work through things. And then when you're vulnerable, mommy doesn't feel good today, or I'm not at my best today, but you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go walking or I'm going to allow myself to feel sad for like 15 minutes. I'm going to be in this moment for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna set a timer. And then after that 15 minutes, I'm gonna make myself get up and I'm gonna go and do yoga. Y'all wanna do yoga with me? You know what I'm saying? Different
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Or let's go cook dinner together. Things like that to get around to be out. I didn't want to step outside the house, but I made a goal to go out at least once a week. Because you don't want to be around people when you're depressed.
Exactly.
But I feel like I've grown. I go into my son's room, I call it their world, and spend time with them. And the more I do that, the more my older son starts talking to me, the more he shares with me. He be talking about Fortnite. I don't know what he talking about, but I be trying to act like, I know.
Hey, just go along with it, girl.
Or
Just go
anime.
along
I
with
don't know nothing about anime, but I'm so down. I'm so ready to go to these anime conferences, girl. I'm about ready to be a
it.
costume, but I don't know nothing about anime. But the point is we have to go into their world and stop expecting them to come into our world all the time. You know what
And
I'm saying?
just react.
Yeah.
A situation occurred today. And Nikki, I'm gonna read your comment as well. But Sarita gonna read it for us. But um a situation happened today where I had to realize that Kirsten only 3 years old, you know. But Kirsten was sitting right next to me. I'm on the computer working, and she said something, and then I said something, and she looked at me and she said, I wasn't talking to you, Mom. But she was talking to Trey. You know, she was like, I wasn't talking to you, Mom. And I was like, I said, oh. I said, girl, I forgot. I almost forgot you was only 3 years old, girl. But instead of reacting and just going off, the first thing that I said was to myself, she's only 3.
Yeah.
You have to teach her. So the first thing that came out of my mouth after I said, girl, I forgot you was on 3. But after I said that, I was like, Kirsten, that's not how you talk to mommy.
Yeah.
You don't say it in that tone. You don't say it like that. What you say is such and such. Now tell mommy you sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, mom. You know, but let's stop just reacting to our
Yeah.
kids. Because like you just said, our kids got feelings too.
Yeah.
You know?
We got to
So
think
Nikki
before we
said, go
abuse.
ahead and read what Nikki said.
Yes, awesome job for being so open. It's adults who are afraid to speak out and to be young and share. I guess she said share their stories, and Lauren sharing her story. I commend her, and God will be with her to help others be blessed. Oh, that's
Yes.
sweet.
So
Thank you,
hold on.
Nikki.
I'm gonna step out for a second because I gotta take my dog out. But I'll be back.
All right, we'll still be here, girl. 'Cause we finna go into our motivation. But before we go into our motivation, I do want to remind everybody that on Saturday, our pre-Mother's Day, our pre-Mother's Day show on Hits 92.3. Special guest will be my mommy. Special guest Peach will be my mommy. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, she put a comment in. Hold on. Oh, I was in a very bad depression when my children were small. I still deal with depression and take medication to deal with it. Yep,
Yeah,
she does. She
it's an
does.
ongoing. I take medication too. It's an ongoing thing, you know. And if you're gonna be open and I'm open and honest with this, even on my podcast. I now went through sexual childhood abuse. Just for people to know, and that's just one of the traumatic events that I went through. But I ended up being diagnosed with being bipolar, of course, anxiety, and complex PTSD. It was very hard for me to accept the bipolar part, but I had to start educating myself on it. And that's when I said, why am I going to, like some people say, I'm suffering from bipolar, I'm suffering from schizophrenia. We have to stop saying I'm suffering. I'm not suffering, I'm doing just fine. Ain't nothing
Mhm.
about me suffering right now. So we have to stop saying we're suffering from it. I am bipolar, or I am schizo, or I am whatever people are dealing with, and learn the coping skills from it. If you have medication, take the medication. I bought one of these little things here by the grandma have.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
can remember to, I can now remember to take everything that I'm supposed to take. But medication doesn't solve it all. You still have to put in the mental work, but it does help. It has helped me with my concentration, my mood, because I was irritable. And I'm coming around. And my goal is to eventually, hopefully, wean myself off or off most of the medication that I take. But
Mhm.
depression is real, and it's something that can come and go, but learning, if you're with a good therapist and you learn coping skills, if you learn techniques, then when it comes, immediately, up, I'm feeling this way again, or I'm laying in the bed all day, I don't feel like getting up, I'm irritable, I'm snapping off on my husband or my wife or my kids, and they haven't done not one thing to me. I,
Mhm.
I need to, you got to check yourself. You learn to check yourself, and then the skills because you were taught, or you researched it and you learned.
Yep. And you got the tools for it.
Yep.
So if you guys want to hear more and more and more with Rita speaking from the closet on Spotify, on iHeart, on Pandora. Yeah, I have to go check her out. So Rita, is there certain days that you're on?
um Trying to figure it out because I just got a promotion at work. So I'm gonna have to switch my days. So that's
Mhm.
my goal, is to get all that planned out by this Saturday, so I can post my days in my, that I'm gonna put my each block. It's gonna be once a week. I don't want to overwhelm myself and say twice a week or anything. So I'm gonna do one per week. I just don't know what day yet with my new schedule I have.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be Sundays is what I'm thinking.
All right, girl. Well, I am a fan. I will be listening. My peaches, they will be listening as well. And also, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play this little video right quick to remind y'all on what's going on with on Saturday from 3 to 4. Hits 92.3. I will be in the building with my mother. Hopefully, my
Yay.
brother will show up as well. I'm hoping he will. but they will be in the building. So here we go.
Let's talk about real life issues, love and relationships. Let's have a good time with the missus. Let's talk about celebrities. Let's talk about current events. Let's talk about things you don't see on regular TV. So join in on Peachy Tea Time. Peachy Tea Time. Tune in on Peachy Tea Time. Peachy Tea Time. Come join us on Peachy Tea Time. Peachy Tea Time. Join us on Peachy Tea Time. Peachy Tea Time. Yeah.
Tea time,
Okay.
tea time. Girl, I love it. But you guys, we're gonna be taking calls on Saturday from 3 to 4. I want everyone to call in. Let's flood these Hits 92.3 lines. I want you guys to call in, give your Mother's Day dedication, your Mother's Day shout outs. The phone number is 404-254-4347. Again, 404-254-4347. If you didn't get a chance to write it down, just go back to the video. It's on my page. The phone number is up in the corner. I really, really want you guys to please, please, please make sure you watch the show. I will be streaming live my very first day in a radio station with my mom. When I tell y'all, it's just so overwhelming. So overwhelming. I never thought that a day like this would ever come. So, and I know she gonna cry. She gonna cry. Lord Jesus, she gonna cry. But Rita, we finna go ahead. We're gonna go into our motivation. After the motivation, we're gonna come back. We're gonna chop it up about the motivation, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out the show. So here we go. Here go that motivation, y'all. What we all be here for. Here we go.
I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up. Somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting. You're thinking about giving up. You are folding. You are caving in. This is for you.
You're in this storm and you're down on your knees and you're cold and you're weak and you feel like this is the end. You have a choice to either give up or keep going. Give up or get up.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay in it. Stay focused.
When you fail, try again and again and again. You just take one step at a time.
It's hard, but it's worth fighting. It's worth believing. It's worth mustering yourself up, standing up inside yourself. It's worth fighting relentlessly, never giving up. I love the sun, but things don't grow because of the sun. You have to have some rain. And you've got to stop looking at rain in your life as something bad. My greatest moments didn't come from my greatest moments. My greatest moments came from my greatest defeats. Because it was during my defeat that I had to find a way to get back up. You thought for 1 minute that you broke me. You got me twisted. I am not phenomenally skilled, but phenomenally willed. I will not give up. I will not surrender. I will not quit. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running towards your dream. Stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. Keep your head up. Stick your chest out. Continue to walk with pride. And know if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not going to be easy, but we have what it takes. Their rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. Don't say I'm having a bad day. Say I'm having a character building day. Don't look at night as darkness. Look at night as a new beginning.
All right. All right. I love those motivations that I play. It means a lot to me. I love playing. I was gonna play them in the beginning, once I started Peachy Tea Time, because we always played it at the end on 3 times a tea. But something inside of me just said, no, keep it going at the end. Because at the end, once we get off, when it's time to go to bed, I want you to think I want you to sleep dreaming about these motivations. And that's why I play them. This particular one basically was saying, don't give up. No matter how hard it gets, don't give up. Keep trying. No matter what people say, no matter what people do, never give up. Because if you give up, that's when you're going to start thinking about the what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start thinking about the what ifs, you won't be able to get them back to see what would have happened if you would have did whatever it was that you wanted to do. I don't care what it is. Going on a trip, starting your own business, going to college, Lauren, making sure that you be the linguistic thing. Yeah, that thing. You know, don't give up, no matter how hard it gets. A friend of mine who's also my kid's godmother, Audra, her daughter, she went to college, straight out of high school. Went to college. Now she's a dentist. Just finished her last test on Sunday. Yep, on Sunday.
That's what's up.
And she got a job and everything. Everything's cool. But she had to complete that last test. And just like you, Lauren, 4.0 all throughout school. Always on a dean list. And got to that last test where she had to literally bring people with her out of town, pay for their stay, and, to do the work, to do the last test. And she did it on Saturday for the first time, and she didn't pass. And she was truly, truly upset about it. And when I say upset, she was very upset. We was at my house partying, celebrating Peachy Tea Time. And she called and was hysterical. But her mom got on that phone with her. She looked at us. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Got on that phone. Let me tell you something. You're going to go in there tomorrow, and you're going to shine, and you're going to pass that test. You smart. You know you could do it. You know what you messed up on, but you're going to pass this test. And Audra called me the very next day, and she passed the test. So she's done completely with school. She is now Dr. Tiara Marshall. I can't think of her last name. I love you. I love you. She's married. She just got married. So I can't think of the last name because she hyphenated her name. I'm sorry, Darius. I love you, Darius. But I can't think of her last name, her new last name. But she is now a dentist. I'm so, so proud of her. I was there at her high school graduation. I love her parents dearly. They did a marvelous job with her. Marvelous job. Doing a marvelous job with their son as well. But Tiara, if you're watching, I love you. I'm proud of you. Lauren, I love you. I'm proud of you just as well. There's not too many chicks out here. Murphy, there go Audra. I knew you was in here. I knew you was in here. Tiara, Dr. Tiara Marshall Murphy. That is her name now. But yes, I'm proud of you young ladies. There's so many young ladies out there that strive to be in y'all shoes. You just don't know. Even if they sit up there chopping it up, acting crazy, twerking, all that stuff, trust and believe they would love to be in y'all shoes. So I wish you nothing but the best in your future, Lauren. And I'm be right there cheering for you, right on the side of your mama. And Kramer, all of us, your daddy, everybody, we all gonna be there. Uncle Pooley, we there. Even mama, even Audra said she there too. But in closing tonight, is there anything that you ladies want to say?
I do want to say this to there is a comedian, and she just says she doesn't like crying. But she's a great comedian. I love her and I love her stories. I can't remember her name right now. But I want to say cry when you feel the need, because crying releases endorphins in our body. So it's actually healthy to get that out. Because if you notice at the end, when you're done, you feel calm and you're at peace. Okay. When you don't let that out, it builds up. And it's just like layers. It just keep piling. So it is healthy to cry. It is okay to cry. And I really want our community to know that. And please seek therapy. Even if you feel like you don't need therapy, it's always good to talk to somebody and get a different perspective. Life is all about perspectives. And our perspectives come into play from things we go through as a child. So if you went through something traumatic as a child, then it's changed the way you think about certain situations. It changes the way you take things. Like somebody might say something and you might take it in a negative way and they don't mean it that way. So please go to a therapist and just get help.
All right. Lauren, is there anything you want to say?
No, I don't have anything more.
Girl, you said enough. I completely understand. Appreciate it. Because once again, like I said, it is not too many people your age that will come on this platform or any other platform, regardless of how many views we get or how many views other people get. They would not come on here and just let it all out like you did today. So we definitely appreciate it. Everybody, if this video just helped one person, just one person, myself, Sarita, and Lauren, we have done our job. And with that being said, I love you all. I will see you all on Friday for Peachy Fridays. When we would the guest, girl, guess who the guest Peachy gonna be?
Who?
Well, the guest Peacheret. What can we call a guy? Peacheret or Peachery?
Peacheron?
Peachawan. Peachawan. Okay, I guess Peachawan. None other, y'all. None other than Fred. Fred will be in the building on PTT time on PT Friday. Now I'm telling y'all now. Now Fred already know how I am. I love Fred. Fred, you know I love you if you still out there watching. But I gotta tell them, y'all gonna have to pay attention. You know, because it's kind of hard to understand Fred, because Fred got a different language. You know, he's from another country and stuff, so it's hard to understand. But Fred said that he gonna be on the show from the beginning to the end. So everybody knows Fred. Fred did the background. Where is it? Oh, there it is. The background. Fred did my website. Fred is in y'all DMs. Everybody is like, Fred. So, with that being said, y'all, Fred will be in the building, special guest on Peachy Tea Time on Peachy Friday instead of Freaky Friday. Peachy Friday. All right. So I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. Sarita, don't hang up. We're gonna do the outro, and then we're gonna have a little chit chat. Okay. All right. Here we go. Bye. Say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for